Between the worlds of Mars and Jupiter lies a place few people ever think about. A vast region filled with countless rocks, fragments, and relics from the birth of the solar system. Hidden among them is a world that was once called a planet. A world that spent decades in astronomy textbooks before being forgotten. A world that still carries secrets from the earliest age of planetary formation. Today we call it a dwarf planet. But its story is far more complicated than that. This is Ceres. On the first day of the 19th century, Italian astronomer Giuseppe Piazzi observed a faint object moving slowly across the night sky. At first, he believed he had discovered a new planet. The object was located exactly where astronomers expected a missing world to exist between Mars and Jupiter. Excitement spread throughout the scientific community. For the first time in generations, a new planet appeared to have been found. The object was named Ceres, after the Roman goddess of agriculture. At the time, nobody knew they had discovered the largest object in an entirely new region of the solar system. What began as the discovery of a planet would eventually lead to the discovery of the asteroid belt itself. For decades, Ceres was officially classified as a planet. But as telescopes improved, astronomers began discovering more and more objects occupying the same region of space. Soon, dozens of similar bodies were identified. Then hundreds, eventually thousands. The solar system suddenly seemed crowded with tiny worlds orbiting between Mars and Jupiter. Scientists realized Ceres was not alone. It was simply the largest member of an enormous population of objects now known as the asteroid belt. As a result, Ceres lost its planetary status. A world once celebrated as a newly discovered planet slowly faded into obscurity. Generations grew up barely hearing its name. Although Ceres lost its title as a planet, it remained extraordinary. Containing roughly 1/3 of the total mass of the asteroid belt, it is by far the largest object in the region. With a diameter of approximately 940 kilometers, Ceres is large enough for gravity to pull it into a nearly spherical shape. Most asteroids resemble irregular rocks. Ceres does not. It is a true world. Its round shape, layered interior, and complex geology distinguish it from the countless smaller bodies surrounding it. In many ways, Ceres occupies a strange middle ground between asteroid and planet. For most of the 20th century, Ceres received little attention. Spacecraft flew past planets. Missions explored moons. New discoveries transformed our understanding of the solar system. Yet Ceres remained largely unexplored. Then scientists began taking a closer look. The more they studied this forgotten world, the stranger it appeared. Hidden beneath its surface were clues suggesting water, geological activity, and mysteries unlike anything expected from an object in the asteroid belt. The forgotten world was about to become one of the most intriguing destinations in the solar system. And the greatest mystery of all was still waiting to be discovered. Bright white lights shining from the darkness. In 2015, a spacecraft approached Ceres and revealed something nobody expected. As NASA's Dawn spacecraft transmitted images back to Earth, scientists noticed brilliant white features shining from the surface of the dwarf planet. Against the dark terrain of Ceres, the spots appeared almost unnatural. Some wondered whether they were exposed ice. Others proposed exotic minerals. For a brief period, the strange lights became one of the most discussed mysteries in planetary science. Why would an ancient dwarf planet hidden in the asteroid belt possess such unusually reflective regions? The closer dawn moved toward Ceres, the stranger the mystery became. Eventually, scientists traced the brightest features to a massive impact structure known as Occator Crater. Stretching nearly 90 kilometers across, The crater contains some of the most reflective material ever observed on an asteroid belt object. At its center lies a brilliant region called Cerealia Facula. From orbit, it appears almost like sunlight reflecting from fresh snow. But these dazzling formations were not ice. They were something far more surprising. Detailed analysis revealed that the bright material consisted largely of sodium carbonate and other salts, substances normally associated with liquid water. Suddenly, the mystery was no longer about bright spots. It became a mystery about water. Salt does not simply appear on the surface of a world without a source. The most likely explanation was astonishing. Scientists concluded that salty liquid water may once have existed beneath Ceres' crust. Over time, impacts and geological processes could have allowed briny fluids to rise toward the surface. As the water evaporated into space, the remaining salts accumulated and formed the bright deposits observed today. This discovery transformed Ceres from a forgotten dwarf planet into one of the most intriguing water-rich worlds in the solar system. The possibility emerged that beneath its ancient surface, remnants of a long-lived underground reservoir might still survive. For years, scientists assumed Ceres had become completely inactive long ago. The Dawn mission challenged that assumption. Evidence suggested that geological activity may have persisted far longer than expected. Some studies even indicate that salty liquids could have reached the surface relatively recently in geological terms. If true, Ceres is not simply an ancient relic. It may be a world that remained active for billions of years after its formation. A world that refused to become entirely frozen and dead. And if liquid reservoirs still exist deep below the surface, the story of Ceres may be far from over. Among the many surprises discovered on Ceres, one stood above all others. Literally. Rising nearly 4 kilometers above the surrounding terrain is a solitary mountain known as Ahuna Mons. Unlike typical mountains formed by tectonic forces, Ahuna Mons appears to be a cryovolcano, a volcano that erupts water, salts, and slushy materials instead of molten rock. Its existence suggests that Ceres was not always a frozen and inactive world. Deep beneath the surface, internal processes may have once pushed material upward, creating one of the strangest mountains in the solar system. Most small worlds lose their internal heat relatively quickly. Yet evidence suggests that pockets of salty liquid may have survived inside Ceres for far longer than expected. Salt acts like an antifreeze, lowering the freezing point of water and allowing liquid reservoirs to remain stable deep underground. If these brines persisted for billions of years, Ceres may have remained geologically active long after scientists thought it had become dormant. The possibility raises a remarkable question. Could liquid water still exist beneath the surface today? For years, planetary exploration focused on Mars, Europa, and Titan. But Ceres is increasingly attracting attention. Its location in the asteroid belt makes it a valuable scientific target. Its water-rich composition could one day support deep space exploration. Future missions may investigate its interior, analyze its chemistry, and search for evidence of ongoing geological activity. In many ways, Ceres sits at a crossroads between asteroid, planet, and ocean world. And that makes it one of the most important unexplored destinations in the solar system. For over 2 centuries, Ceres lived in the shadow of larger worlds. First called a planet, then reclassified as an asteroid, and finally recognized as a dwarf planet. Yet throughout all those changes, Ceres quietly preserved secrets from the dawn of the solar system. Today we know it is far more than a simple asteroid. It is a world with a complex history, hidden water, mysterious bright deposits, and perhaps even remnants of an ancient ocean, forgotten by many, but no longer overlooked.